Hey there. Welcome back to Borrowed Notes Authentic Lives. I'm your host, Karen Rosenberg. Today, I am super excited to have this opportunity to talk to Nicholas Brydon. As you will see from his amazing backdrop, I think you now may have to start a trend for everybody else who's coming on. Um, Turn it on again, a Phil Collins experience. So he's part of this amazing music, bringing it to all of us. Phil Collins, Genesis, and I'm super pumped. This is a reschedule, so I've been like anxiously awaiting this conversation. And, when we hear more about his story and how he got into this line of being the Phil Collins of the Phil Collins tribute band in Genesis, I mean, by taking one look at him, you'll see why, there's definitely a bit of a resemblance there. And he'll tell the story of like how this all kind of came to be. So celebrating the music of the solo career and of Genesis and all the amazing songs that are out there and really starting to like level up to some really large venues too, which he will talk about. He was at one last night here in South Florida. So thank you so much, Nicholas, for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Karen. I've been looking forward to this as well.
Yeah. So tell me, how did it start? Like, who was this friend that called you out and said, you know what, you look a lot like Phil Collins?
No, it's pretty crazy. So I've been singing my entire life. Music's always been my biggest passion. When I was younger, I was in choirs at school, and then when I was in I want to say middle school, I joined a singing group called the Boys Singers of Maine. And I really enjoyed that. And I was with that group until we relocated to Florida back in 2003. And I tried to get a couple bands together, but the hardest thing I'm sure you know is finding people that are not only dedicated, but people that are professionals. So everything I tried, it didn't last long just because nobody was committed. But no matter what, I had to get my fix for singing. So I did frequent the local karaoke scene here in the Brandon area quite a bit. I am actually a back-to-back Brandon Idol champion, which is a lot of fun.
Wait,
But
what? Wait, I have to interrupt you. What is that? What do you mean you're back
so
to back?
one of the local one of the local venues here hosted an annual singing competition. It was like I think a 10-week contest, and then every week they picked a winner, went on to the semifinals. Six people moved on to from the semifinals to the finals, and then I won 2 years in a row.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. We're gonna have to get you on The Voice or is American Idol still a thing?
Yeah, people have said that. I don't know where to start. But I always would do karaoke. And then one night I was out at karaoke. My mother and her friend were out with us that night. And her friend was like, quick question. Have you ever sung a Phil Collins song? Because, your voice kind of resembles his. I'm like, I haven't. And she's like, you actually kind of look a little bit like him too. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, let me go ahead and try it. So the next song I sang was Against All Odds, and that was it.
Oh
Like,
my
just
God.
everything felt so natural. I got such a great reaction from the audience. And from that point on, it was full blown, let's delve into this catalog. Let's, you know, learn as much about the music as I can. And for a while on the karaoke scene, that's what actually helped me win the contest. 2 years in a row was Phil Collins. There's a medley that I did. It started out with Against All Odds, then it went into Another Day in Paradise, and then it went into In the Air Tonight. That's a powerhouse right there.
Wow.
But it was so much fun. And then, eventually I'm like, I really want to get a tribute band together. Like, I enjoy doing this so much. This music is so great. Like, I want to get in front of people. And the best part is, I knew Phil Collins and I knew Genesis prior to that, but I really mainly knew the radio hits. So getting to delve into the music was so eye-opening. And I'm just a huge fan of everything Phil and Genesis, especially the Peter Gabriel era stuff. And I love when Phil took over how live he would do a lot of the Gabriel era songs and put his own spin on it. So in our shows we do as well. We do a couple old medleys at certain venues, which is fun. But I tried for a few years to try to get a group together, and as always, couldn't find people dedicated, or the people that were interested were already in five bands. That happens a lot. Um, but one day I was browsing Facebook and there was a group I had joined called Tampa Bay Musicians Network, and I saw a post that said looking for a guitarist for a Phil Collins Genesis tribute. And this was the first time I had seen anybody trying to pull together a Phil Collins and Genesis tribute. And I know that it said they were looking for a guitarist, but I reached out. And that's how I connected with the drummer and the band leader of the group, Antonio Kofed. Um, and I reached out to him. I'm like, this is amazing. I've been trying to get a Genesis Phil Collins tribute together for, 4 years now. Do you guys already have your Phil? And he's like, yeah, we already have our Phil.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, here's some videos of me performing, just so you can kind of get an idea. And then let me add you on Facebook. And then what I will do is I will check in with you in a couple months just to see how things are going because the project was just getting off the ground. They actually had an open mic night scheduled at the Daiquiri Shack down in Madeira Beach. And I reached out to them a little over a week before that premiere. I reached out, I'm like, how are things going with your singer? And they were like, not too good. It's really not working out. So we actually asked him to leave the band. And I'm like, oh, that's the perfect opportunity for me to step in. So literally that weekend, I met with them at Soundcode Studios in Clearwater for our first rehearsal. And from the moment we all started playing together, it clicked perfectly. Uh, when we played No Son of Mine, it was like, this is it. And then we had one more rehearsal the same week. And then I was on stage with them at the Daiquiri Shack um, doing
Wow.
the debut. So it all happened extremely fast. After the Daiquiri Shack debut, which was only about 4 or 5 songs we did, some video of it circulated around, and a local drummer who is fantastic, Sean Lowry, he actually went ahead and invited us to open up for Tap Fest at the Niagara Tap. And it was crazy because they had already had their lineup and everything, and he just got us added last minute. He showed the video to the owner, like, man, I really want to get these guys in. So we were able to get into Tap Fest. We were the openers, and we actually shot our first promo video at Tap Fest. Um, right after that, our promo video started circulating, and we literally right after that got reached out to by Richard Rubin of Maximum Bands, who is the agent that represents us right now, and they picked us up immediately, and shows started to come in. Our first show was the Seafood and Rum Festival at the Tampa Premium Outlets. Then we went to Motorworks, and then we went to OCC, and then we went to Wild Rover. So things picked up drastically. The plan was to get the group together and spend a year learning the music, get it tight. But life had different plans. They really, I guess the agency saw, the talent that we had, and they really wanted to get in as soon as possible. But that was the best part because there's nothing better than learning in the work instead of learning separate from the work. So it was so much fun, and just business picked up. The first like partial year we were together was a fairly small year, but then the next year, which was 2025, things really picked up. We did end up between 2024 and 2025 losing our bass player, Keith Russell.
Oh.
He actually had to relocate to Ohio for work. So we actually had a new bass player come in, who's our current bass player, Dan Miller. He's an awesome guy. And then our guitar player, John Danius, he actually had a biking accident. He rides mountain bikes, and he broke his fingers.
Oh. Oh my
So
God.
as a guitarist, that's kind of a no-no. So while he was recovering from surgery, we had to have a couple fill-ins for a couple gigs. And by the time, that he was healing, he just wanted to focus on other things. So one of the fill-ins that we had that joined us in Boynton Beach for a showcase, Sergio, he was able to step in as the guitarist, and we have had the same lineup now since January of last year, and just the opportunities keep growing. The venues keep getting bigger, and we keep getting to travel, across this amazing state. It's really cool. We've been as far as, the Panhandle and Navarre Beach. We were down in Dana Beach last night. We're playing Fort Myers for the third time next month. So it's really cool to get to see the state, and we're really looking to add some out of state gigs as the year progresses as well. Actually, we're in talks right now to book a gig in South Carolina at one of the Margaritavilles. So really excited for that opportunity. But yeah, everything has just picked up so fast. I believe we had 19 shows last year, which was our first year with the full lineup. And, we're looking to surpass that this year. We're already on pace. But no, it is so much fun. I love this music so much, and I have such a deep respect for Phil and for the work that he did with Tony, with Mike. We love, all of his band. We love Chester, we love Daryl. Like their musicianship is just second to none. And we really enjoy, being able to share this music with, other people that love it because it's difficult. Phil isn't in the best health right now.
Yeah.
So this really is the only way for people to, get that fixed. And the best part is the thing I love the most about tribute bands is they keep the music alive and they keep, the artist front and center. Because at the end of the day, it's always about the artist and it's always about their legacy. So no, it's been the most fun. And we're really just looking to, as we move forward, take it to the next level. There's other stuff we want to do, but I don't know if that's a question you have later. So
Oh, yeah. No, I'm curious. We'll pause that for a second. I have a couple of follow-up questions. One, just to your point about, and it is amazing to see, like that when things fell into place, how quickly it went, and that, talk about right time, right place, and just and the demand, and I wonder, and maybe you've thought about this too, like with Phil Collins being sick, and I mean, I saw a video not too long ago. He was somewhere. Where was he? He got an award or something.
I saw that
It's,
one too.
yeah, yeah, which was amazing to see. But I wonder if that, it's like this realization we need to see our people when we can see them, right? We never know what's going to happen around the corner. So knowing that he's unfortunately not able to, that the demand for you guys is probably just going to keep growing. Do you
It
think?
is, and we're really happy to, like I said, share that music with people and get to just celebrate Phil and Genesis every single night. Um, it is disappointing, the condition of his health. I don't know if they'll ever tour anymore,
Mm.
but he says he has a lot of songs written, that he hasn't recorded. So we were just talking about it on the drive home from Dana Beach last night. Like it would be so amazing if he could put out some new music. Like I think that's an artist's biggest gift, especially, when they are, in poor health. Like I love how David Bowie released Black Star, like before he
Mm.
passed away.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that album just
Yeah.
holds such a special place in my heart because that's what these artists, they pour themselves into everything. And it's like one last, thank you to the fans and like one last memory that's going to live on forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so Bowie is one of your, it was cool that he did that. Do you have favorite artists yourself? Like, because you said like, it's not even though you knew all of the catalog of Genesis and Phil Collins. So who's kind of been your musical inspirations?
So growing up, I grew up with all of the classic rock because of my parents. So I grew up on everything from Cheap Trick to the Eagles to Queen to Bob Seger, just all that music, John Mellencamp. So I've been raised around good music. I really like the adult alternative. So my favorite band growing up was the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh,
Before I did the Phil Collins, everybody used to call me the Goo Goo Dolls guy because I used to always sing Goo Goo Dolls songs. But I love the Goo Goo Dolls. John Mayer is a huge inspiration. He's a fantastic songwriter and even better guitar player. There's so much music I love. 21 Pilots is another big one.
mm.
My entire family is obsessed with 21 Pilots. We saw them on the last two tours here in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Best shows I've ever been to. Um, let me see here. Another band that I love, not many people have heard of them, is The Night Game.
No, who's
So the
that?
the Night Game is a band that was formed by Martin. I forget his last name, but he was the singer of the pop punk band Boys Like Girls, and
Oh,
he did a project called The Night Game, and it's all 80s inspired music and lyrics, like the gated drums, the keys, like it has so much of that vibe. And it's honestly that their debut album, The Night Game, is probably in my top five albums of all time. It is
wow.
just so good.
Let's check it
And
out.
then man, there's just I love music. Like I listen to music literally all the time. I have my iPod next to me. I'm still rocking an iPod Classic.
Oh
So
my God, that's so funny. I was with somebody recently who was doing a road trip. If she's listening, Michelle, shout out. And was literally talking about her iPod and needing an adapter for the car. Oh my God, you're right. That is hysterical. All, all your
it's
music's on
amazing.
there.
All my music is on there.
I think I have over there like a little, like the Nano, the little tiny
Okay,
guy.
that
Do you
was
know that
awesome.
one?
Yep, I remember how revolutionary it was. Was it 1,000 songs in your pocket? I mean,
Right.
my dad would tell me stories when he was growing up of walking around town just carrying a big boombox on his
Oh
shoulder.
my.
How far we've come.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That was the most important thing to bring to when I went away to college was to bring my boombox and my cassette tapes and
That is
all of that.
awesome.
Yes, it's very funny how that is for sure. Um, so so it's great. So kind of music. If you weren't doing this, or is this all that you do? Like, do you have a day job? How do you, what do you balance in
I
your
do,
life? Okay.
and that is actually the part that is. I'm trying to think of the word to say it, but that's actually what makes it interesting. So yes, I do have a day job. I'm a supervisor for Progressive Insurance. So
Oh.
I put in my 40 hours a week at work. I also am a dad, so I have three kids, two biological and a bonus, and a
Oh.
girlfriend. So it's a delicate balance of family, work, and Phil. But
Yes.
the best part is my family is so supportive. And that's the most important thing because, I wouldn't be able to do this without them. And, I really appreciate them for that.
Yeah, and I don't know that people realize the juggle. Talk about work family life balance and work family life music balance is like a real triple threat on some level. How do you do it? How do you balance it all out?
We balance it out really well. Like I said, my girlfriend and I are a really good team, and she supports, the fact that I get to go out and do this and enjoy this. So it works out really well. The good news is because all of us do have full-time jobs
Mhm.
in the band, we're not booking ourselves, constantly back to back. We'll typically have within this last month. So we played Heritage Pines a little over a week ago. We played Whispering Oaks Winery in Oxford on Thursday, Dania Beach Casino on Friday. We're playing Wild Rover next Friday, and then we're playing Mango Ritas in early August. So in the span of 30 days, we have five shows. And that's probably, the most that we would do. We try to stay like 4 shows a month to 5 shows a month just to support that balance. But yeah, it's been working out really, really well.
Do your kids like music? And
Oh,
do they enjoy this, what you do?
they are obsessed with music. So thankfully, my two kids got to come to the last show we did at OCC, and they had so much fun. They were dancing on the dance floor the entire time. I have the photo of us, with the audience at the end, and they're right there with their hands raised. So it's just so awesome to get them to watch them experience that. And then, of course, they're both musical themselves. So my son, he sings, but he is also a drummer. He is in drum lessons right now.
Oh, he
So
may
yeah.
take over your job. You better look out.
Right? No, every
Right.
time he gets up at karaoke, like people go crazy. He does Bye Bye Bye
Oh
by
my God.
instinct, hand movements and everything. Like he is a ham. But no, he's really good. My daughter is in vocal lessons. She does good. And then my bonus daughter is in vocal lessons and piano.
Oh my
So
God. You're going to
very
become like the Partridge Family. You'll have like a whole Jackson family, hopefully without all the craziness, um, stuff going on with your family. That's
yeah, very,
amazing.
very musical family. So that's another reason why it works so well is, they understand. And I think the kids, want to, get in a band when they're older as well, which I think is great.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It like for you, what's there more music? I know you said you grew up with music from your parents, but did they play an instrument or
They
sing?
they they didn't actually. Um, they sang a little bit, but very rarely. So I don't know where the singing came from on my part. I know my mom sings a lot in the car. But I'm the first one that kind of pursued the band thing. But I think just being surrounded by such great music growing up, I've always had the music in me, and I'm one of those people where you say something and a lyric is immediately in my head, and I can't
Yeah.
not sing the lyric. So I want to be on that show. Don't forget the lyrics or whatever. So, I love lyrics.
Right, because it is so lyrically driven. So much of his music is lyrically driven. Is there a particular song that is more challenging for you when you're going to perform it and you're like, I got to gear up for this one?
So are you talking more so emotionally or?
However, it could be right. You're right, because if it's a lyric, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point. It brings up emotion.
yeah, I would say emotionally In the Air Tonight is probably the most emotionally heavy song. It's just as soon as that guitar comes in the drone, like it just everything's like it gets heavy. And
Oh,
it is such an amazing feeling, especially when they have the lights low, and that's probably the most powerful one. But also there's songs that are one thing about Phil is a fantastic vocalist,
mm,
and he does a lot of things, that other artists would be scared to do. So a lot of his songs are very breathy, and there's not much of an opportunity to breathe in between, verses and choruses and bridges. So sometimes, that is something you have to really make sure you pace yourself. One thing that I've been learning lately is the importance of the pacing of the set list. So initially, Antonio, the drummer, created the set list for the first few years. But recently, actually, our show on Thursday, Whisper Oaks Winery, was the first time we used a set list that I created.
mm,
And I actually thought that show was a lot easier for me to get through vocally
oh,
because just like Phil did, he would go ahead, he would do one or two very big challenging songs and then do a song to vocally recover. And that's so important. And the hard thing too is doing Phil and Genesis in the same night is you want to do all the hits. So most nights we were going straight from Home by the Sea into Tonight into No Son of Mine. So
wow.
and then into Land of Confusion.
Oh my God.
And it's like those songs back to back,
They're so
like
iconic also, those songs. Oh
right,
my gosh.
right. So just learning to pace that out, that helped so much. Like it so yeah, there's definitely songs. I would say probably the song that's the most fun to sing, but it's also, fast paced, is we do the In the Cage medley from Three Sides Live.
Okay.
And we do it at the original speed. We don't do the slowed down version. So that's very wordy, very fast, but that is so fun. And whenever we do the old medleys, it's really, for the Genesis fans in the audience, that really appreciate that stuff. So we have a lot of fun when we're able to do those.
Yeah. Do you have a preference of old Genesis, the proggy, real proggy Genesis versus the hits of, I guess, the 80s Genesis versus Phil Collins solo? What's your favorite? Do you have a
I
favorite?
I actually don't have a preference. I love all of it because it all, has its place, and it's great because it adds variety to the set. The prog stuff is fantastic. We do a medley that's Firth the Fifth, and then it
Oh,
goes into I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe. And then that's all, and then we end with I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe. And just that's I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe. That is one of my favorite songs. Um, I love the older Genesis stuff. Another song that I really want to add to our rotation is Carpet Crawlers.
oh
Oh, I
yeah.
love Carpet Crawlers so much. But yeah, I love it all. On the way home from the gig last night, we were listening to some older Genesis. So we were listening to, and then there were three.
Oh,
And that has so many amazing songs on it. It's like you could literally with either catalog individually, either Genesis or Phil, like the amount of songs material is just endless. So we add new songs all the time, just because there's so much material. But then also the '80s stuff for Genesis, like Tonight,
mhm.
Abacab,
Oh,
like
love.
that stuff goes over so well. Um, it's such a blast. And then of course Phil's solo stuff, that it's so hard to say I have a favorite part of the set because I enjoy I enjoy it all. But doing Phil stuff like Don't Lose My Number, Something Happened on the
Hmm.
Way to Heaven, Rain Down, like those songs are I don't think the guy's ever written a bad song.
Right. Have you seen where your audience, which era do they light up for the most, or kind of, because it depending on the age of the audience, or I don't know, are you seeing younger people coming in? Are people bringing their kids? What's
That
been the audience like?
that's the best part, and it really does vary based on venue, which is interesting. So when we played Heritage Pines, it's a 55 plus retirement
Um,
community. So you know the music hits differently there. Same when we played Boynton Beach. I would say that community is more into the ballads.
mm,
Um, Whereas, when we play OCC, when we play Wild Rover, when we play Mangaritas, that's the audience that's looking for Land of Confusion. That's the audience that's looking for, In the Air Tonight. So it really depends. And then, like I said, too, depending on the venue, we have the old melodies. So we have the In the Cage medley, we have Firth the Fifth, I Know What I Like. So it really depends on the room. But yet we have all age groups that come to our shows. It's actually amazing. There's this little girl, biggest Phil Collins fan in the entire world. Her name is Everly. She's actually blind. Um, but she actually came to our show in Coachman Park earlier this year. It was her first show. They traveled all the way down from Southwest Florida to come see us, and they actually went and saw us at Whisper and Oaks Winery um, on
oh,
Thursday again for the second time. But like she was dancing the entire time, singing every word. Like it's just amazing to see that Phil Collins is so multi generational, and my kids enjoy Phil Collins too. I mean, they sing it all the time because I sing it all the time. But it's just so great. There really is no specific demographic for Phil Collins. It's a mixture of male, female. It's a mixture of age. So it's really really cool. So we see a wide variety of fans, and the best part is each fan joined the fandom at a different point in their life due to a certain song. You have a
oh,
lot of people that discovered Phil Collins through "You'll Be in My Heart" from Tarzan in 1999.
oh, true.
That song is huge for my generation. So whenever we do that one at the show, we get a huge response, especially from people around my age. And then if we do "Follow You, Follow Me"
Hmm.
from, and then there were three. We have a crowd that may be a little bit older. That I've had people that was their wedding song. And it's just
Oh,
so amazing. People get up and they slow dance on the floor together for that song. So it's so great because this music's not only so vast, but it's covered such a large amount of time that there's so many people from so many different, generations. And I think that's really cool too. That's another reason I love doing this is because, we get to share that music with people that may not have discovered it. Like last time we played OCC Roadhouse, if someone came up to us, I brought my granddaughter with us, this is her first time hearing Phil Collins. She loved it. And now, someone's going to go home. They're going to listen to Phil Collins. They're going to fall in love with the music. It's like, that's what it's all about.
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. There are all these segments of populations that are just so into it, and the crossover, multi-generational. That's the perfect word to describe it, for sure. When you when you mixed up the set list this last time, do you still end on like the same song every time? How do you like? Is there one like you have to pick the
Yeah,
song?
yeah, typically. So we typically open the first set with Duke's intro. That's just an instrumental number, gets the crowd going. And we typically end the set with the encore, Take Me Home.
Oh,
And that one goes over extremely well. After the bridge, I go out into the audience and I let the audience, sing the Take Me Home. And it is just it's so powerful to get the fans involved. So actually we do that for so typically we end the first set with Susudio, and then we end the
love.
second set with Take Me Home. And then someone just posted this on Facebook about our show last night. They said, yesterday, the lead singer for the Phil Collins Experience tribute band walked off stage and came over to me in the front row with a microphone extended and asked me to sing Oh Susu Studio. It's amazing how singers sometimes know how to improve their performance and give the people what they want.
Aw, that was so nice.
Right? And
It's
it's
so
just, it's
great.
so,
Social media for a good thing. I love
it,
it.
it, it's just so great because you see people light up when you put the mic in front of their face. It's like, because I think everybody wants to, be part of the experience. So yeah, I love that. I at least go into the audience twice a show.
Oh, that's so awesome. I think that's great. I wanted to circle back to something that you had said when you linked up with your management,
Yes.
how that really made a difference. And for somebody who may be thinking about a tribute band, do you, versus doing it on your own, putting out your promo reel, all that stuff, talk a little bit about the business side
It
of it.
It is so important, I believe, to work with an agency. The best part is most agencies aren't exclusive. So, you may have a primary agency that represents you, but you can work with multiple agents. The most difficult thing about not working with an agency is getting into rooms because lots of rooms are tied to a certain agency or a certain agent. So, by being part of one of their groups, it opens up a lot of opportunities for you. That's how we were able to, with our first four gigs, play OCC Roadhouse and Wild River Brewing. Like that was an opportunity. Like we performed what three times together and we're on the main stage at OCC. It's like stuff like that. I don't think can happen without a an agent representing you. And I think it's completely worthwhile. Every agent we worked with has been very, very gracious with their time and they're very fair as far as as the cut that they take for getting the shows booked. So we've had just an amazing experience. The one thing that I would share, and I think we lucked out because even though we had a promo video we shot at Tap Fest, it wasn't the best promo video, but I would say for anybody that's looking to get into the tribute scene and you have a band, that you feel is ready to take that next step, you have to get a good promo video.
Mm.
That is the key. And the key is the promo video that you're shooting, it's not for you. It's not for your fans coming to the show. It's for the people that are booking the venues and for the agents. That's who you're really trying to impress. So we actually just shot a new promo video back in March of this year. We rented out a theater and we had some guy come in, Dave Moto from Fastlane Productions, come in from Nashville, and we filmed our new promo video there. And it was an investment. Sometimes you have to
Mm.
spend money to make money. But as soon as that promo dropped, we got a ton of bookings. So
Wow.
I would say, make sure, of course, make sure first that you have the music down and that you're ready to take that next step. Um, and then get a good promo video out there because that promo video is going to be your ticket to not just the venues but to work with a good agent. And I know our agency Maximum Bands is always looking for new artists, and that's
Mm.
the biggest thing that Rich is looking for. Is he says, I need someone with a really good promo video because it's difficult. Most venues aren't going to book a show based on like a fuzzy cell
Oh,
phone camera video with really distorted audio. So just invest the time. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be super expensive. Just record something with good sound, like record from a board, and just get some good, maybe 720p, 1080p video, and that is all you need to get in. But that's I'd say the most important part.
that is great advice because I think that as much as somebody may feel like I got this down, our band is solid. I can, we're just, we gel, right? But the promo video isn't about them and it isn't about those of us who are the fans. It really is about future bookings or future getting into the rooms and that is important. And I think with social media, and that's how it's like it's the portfolio, almost a reel. You're sharing it with whomever, and that is going to help you and grow. What you're trying to do is grow, and so you have to put your money where your mouth is and get that done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been very beneficial, and it's just so important to bring someone in that understands it because that takes all of the weight off of you. And that's one thing I've learned a lot, since joining this tribute scene is align yourself with other professionals
Mhm.
because you never know when you're going to need the connection or you're going to need their skill set.
Mhm.
And we've had a lot of times where we've had to have people come and fill in, when one of our musicians is, unavailable. And it's just this community, especially here in the Tampa St. Pete area, is just there's so many fantastic musicians. And that's probably been another one of my favorite things about being part of, the tribute band is just getting to be part of the local music scene and get to meet so many amazing musicians. It's been really, really, really good.
Do you go out and watch some of their gigs as
That
well?
sadly, that is the biggest that's
That's
the
hard.
biggest caveat with being in a tribute band is I want to get out to more shows, but they're always performing when I'm performing. Um, our agency, Maximum Bands, has a Creed tribute band
Oh,
called Creed and
cool.
Clay. And they're very popular right now, and they're booking all over the country. But they were playing OCC yesterday, and if I wasn't playing Dania Beach,
Um,
I would have wanted to go see them at OCC. But whenever schedules align, I do like to go see tribute bands. I've seen Sean Laurie, who I mentioned, got us our first gig at the Tap Fest. He is in a Scorpions tribute band.
oh, no way. I
They're
haven't heard of a
fantastic.
Scorpions one yet.
Big
Okay.
City Nights, I believe it's called.
Oh, cool.
And I've seen them at Wild Rover. They were
Oh,
fantastic. Another group that we're friends with, Subliminal Doubt. They're a No Doubt
oh,
tribute.
yep.
I've seen them live. So I like to get out to live music whenever I possibly can. But at the same
Oh,
time,
yes.
respect my family's time because they let me be on the road a few days a month. So it's that balance. But I love live music, and I know that when my kids get a little bit older and get out of the house, I'm gonna be out at a lot more shows.
Oh yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things when I'm going to a show and seeing Rush is my all-time favorite band, and so I'm like my whole feed is all Rush stuff right now all the
That's
time.
amazing.
And when I see the videos of parents taking like little kids, they got the big heads, protect their ears, please, yes, but to see them that they're just so excited to be in the room, of sharing that with their own kids too, these
And
these
that's the
artists.
part that I love getting to take my kids to these concerts and to expose them to this music. It's just amazing. It's like, especially as a musician, and they're musicians, it's like every new band you discover, every new genre, it's like a new paintbrush in your palette. And it's like,
Yeah.
it diversifies you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not working on music, rehearsing or working the day
Yeah.
job, what do you do? How do you spend a Saturday?
How do I spend the Saturday? Mostly with the family. We like to do a lot of stuff together. So, my mother lives fairly local, so we try to spend as much time with her as we can because the grandkids, love her. She's actually here right now, watching them while I do this. So that's a lot of fun. But we spend a lot of family time together. Uh, I'm trying to find more time though for my other hobbies. So I
What are
did
they?
actually in the last year pick up a really nice Roland E-kit.
Oh.
And I picked up a really nice Korg Oasis workstation the other day. So my goal is over the next year or so to learn a few songs on keys and a few songs on drums so I can, jump on during the show. And once
Oh.
again, because that's what Phil did. Phil would jump on the drums, in between songs. He'd have drum duets with Chester. He would jump on the piano sometimes for Against All Odds, Inside Out. So, I want to be able to incorporate that in the show. I want to, continue to make the show as big as possible. That's something I was mentioning earlier as well. So we don't have a timeline yet, but we eventually do want to grow. We're at 5 members now, but we want to add a couple background vocalists. We want to add a horn section because horns are
Oh.
huge, especially for Phil.
Yes.
And we want to add a percussionist.
Oh.
Because I just think that'll make it so much more of a event. So I'm really looking forward to, when we're able to do that. We do sometimes have a guest female vocalist, Carly, perform with us. I love it when we do shows with her. We always break out Easy Lover, and that one goes over with the crowd really well. But yeah, I would love to have a full time, backup singer, backup singers, and especially the horn section. Nothing beats live horns.
Oh, I agree.
Um,
What's Easy Lover? I haven't thought about that song in a while. That was like one of my when I was younger, and like I don't know, in your brain you feel like you could play a song with an instrument, and for me was one of those songs. And I don't know what I was thinking, but you just triggered like a memory sitting in my car when that song was on playing. But what's your what? Tell me about the decision making process of how to make that expansiveness occur. Is it like a money thing because obviously people need to get paid? Is it just finding the right people? How do
Uh,
you do
it, it's
that?
it's a combination of both. Of course, we want to make sure we're continuing to go to bigger rooms and bigger venues. So of course, you want to make sure that you're bringing in enough money for it to make sense to add in additional members. of course, when you add in additional members, you can also raise your asking price as well because you bring a bigger production. But I think that's important. But then, like you said, also making sure you bring in the right people because we have such a great cohesive group right now. Like everybody is so professional. Like nobody's late for gigs. We always show up early. We sound check super easily. Nobody, has any, vices that lots of bands fall into. It's just
Oh,
everybody is an adult professional, and that's what makes it so easy. Like we gel so well. So we want to make sure, if we have someone step in, they fit our dynamic. We don't want to bring somebody in that's you know,
yeah.
gonna make them
Downgrade. We don't want to downgrade. We want an upgrade.
right. So that's the and a lot of things too, especially with like horns players, is once again they're in a lot of bands. So finding someone that has the ability to dedicate at least a portion of their time, to your primary group. Like we've had a couple people jump in on saxophone for us for a few shows, which is great. Saxophone adds so much, especially like in Against All Odds and Who Said I Would. But yeah, that's definitely our goal is to, kind of expand the band. Like I said, me get on a couple instruments. Like the best part is, we're still in our infancy. This lineup's been together a little under 2 years. Um, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. We plan on continuing to grow and continue to, improve the show. And, our goal is to be the number one Phil Collins tribute band.
He said it here.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and
Wow.
we right now we call ourselves the most emotionally authentic Phil Collins tribute band.
Oh, talk a little bit about that. The name of this podcast is Borrowed Notes Authentic Lives, your
And
authentic life, but talk about the
and
authenticity.
that's the key because just because you can sound like an artist, just because you can look like an artist, just because you can put on the costumes, like you have to have a heart for the music. You have to feel the music. And I've seen it too many times with different tribute bands where, the person, they're a great singer, they look the part, but they get up there and you just don't feel the emotion.
Mhm.
And for me, that is the key. Like, so it's, the most emotionally accurate, but our saying I put on our site is, close your eyes, feel the music, relive the moment. And
Mhm.
that's how I want it to be. I want people to be at the shows, close their eyes, and then feel like they're back on the No Jacket Required tour. And we hear that all the time from people. They're like, I closed my eyes and I was back at this show, you know.
Oh.
And for me, like that's the most fulfilling thing in the world, to be able to take people back.
Oh, no, that's so important. You're thinking about the fan experience, and I think about what that is like. Totally not music related, but Savannah Bananas. You know
Oh,
who
everybody
Savannah?
knows Band of
I
Bananas.
know. I feel so lucky. I was able to before it blew up. We went to I almost said a show. It is like a show, one of their games. But his whole motto, what's his name? Yellow Tux Jesse or whatever the dude is about the fan experience. To make sure that they're having a good time and having that experience. And it sounds like that's important for you as well. That
That that
the
that that
fans.
is so important because nobody wants to perform on a stage in front of no one. The audience is more integral to the show than anybody else. And a lot of times, like I'll go to a concert just to be in the sea of people, just to feed off that energy. So yeah, the audience is everything. That's why I love going on in the audience and having them do the callbacks in the songs and just the best part is at the end of Take Me Home. Once I hold out that last note and the music fades away, just I'm surrounded by a sea of people and just people, swarm you. They share their Genesis and Phil Collins experiences.
Mm.
They ask for hugs, they ask for pictures, and it's
Oh,
amazing to just hear how what you did touch somebody. And for me, like that's the most fulfilling thing in the world. Like it's 100% for the fans.
do you do a meet and greet? How do fans get to connect with you after a
So
show?
just after the show, I'm in the audience when it ends. So
Oh, just
I
because
just
you're out there, what you were saying, singing, they're singing. They
yep,
took your job for a minute, right? Oh, so just in those moments, that's special. Yeah.
man.
How do you kind of center yourself after a gig? I mean, you last night, as we're recording this, you performed last night and drove home. You were saying right before we hopped on, and what time did you get home? 5:30 a.m. or something like that?
5:30 a.m. Yeah, and that's the glamorous part of the tribute
Let's hear
industry,
about the glamour.
and
Yes.
that's the part that you get paid for. The performing on stage, that's fun. Like, but you get paid for the other stuff. So, I mean, the most difficult part, depending on the venue, is the load in. So we played the casino
Oh,
at Dana Beach last night. So, a lot of going up lifts, going across, casino floors. So the setup and the teardown is always the most exhausting. But the best part is after the teardown, you're on that rush from the show. So it's like you kind of have that second energy. But yeah, last night the show ended around 10. We were loaded up around 11, and then we drove straight from Dana Beach um, back up north. And then I got home around like 5:30 last night. So no, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like it was the most fun because I got to be with amazing people and I got to be with my band. Like that for me, it's great because we're not just bandmates. We're friends. We're family, and it's just that's so rewarding.
that's really cool. Yeah, and I think that's the piece too, as you're getting these opportunities, you're going to like a venue like a casino and it's not like just popping in, which no shade to local little like a brewery or something, which is awesome and fun
Yeah,
and good beer. It's a little quicker setup, than what you did
exactly.
last
So we
night.
played Whisper and Oaks Winery in Oxford the night before. Completely different. The
Where
crowd
is this winery? I'm a where is it?
Oxford.
Where's that? I have to look at a map.
It's northwest. It
Oh,
was about an
okay.
hour above me in the Tampa area.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Um, but the good news is when we do like multiple stretch gigs, we do get hotel rooms typically, which is nice. The main reason that we drove home last night was our guitar player Sergio. He's actually in three bands right now. So not only did he do back-to-back shows with
Oh,
us on Thursday, Friday, but he's playing with his band tonight. So he needed to get back in town for that gig. So
wow.
that man is dedicated.
What other
Um,
bands is he in? Tribute or other
um,
types of bands?
other bands. So he's in a band called Red Sunday, and he is in another band with Carly, who is the vocalist that we bring on stage sometime. I'm trying to remember their name, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
That's okay. Yeah, but it is you're a working musician and you gotta plus the passion and the love and opportunity presents. So that's why you guys drove back. That is some dedication. Oh my
It
goodness,
it
for
truly
sure.
is. And another thing, and I don't know how much time we have
No,
left,
we're good.
um,
You're good.
but I also wanted to share one of the decisions we made at the end of last year that's been really beneficial is we chose to become an LLC.
Talk about
So
that.
that's
Okay.
another thing I think is important. If people are watching this podcast and are
Yeah.
wanting, get into the tribute industry, it is so much easier from a financial standpoint to, function as an entity. So,
Mm.
we are an entity. We have our guitar player, or sorry, our keyboard player, Paul. He is kind of like our finance guy. Myself and Antonio, we handle the bookends. Um, Dan handles our website. So everybody plays their own part, but it's great because since we're an LLC, we also have things written into stipulations where it comes to like we have to reach mutual agreements on things, and it's good. It really makes it's a business, because this is a
Business.
business. And beforehand, if you don't have anything structured, there's just so much room for you know, bad things to happen, like people taking advantage of things, people, not get into agreement. So that helped also from a tax standpoint. It's great with the LLC. We're all going to get, tax forms this year. Also, because we're an LLC, we're able to, track our mileage, track our expenses. So it's going to be interesting, but I think this is by far the best way to do it.
That's excellent advice because it is a business and it's a partnership in your family, but it's also people's personalities. And you get, if you kind of set that foundation as you're doing now, especially as you said, you're in your early years and hopefully as you're on your trajectory, will continue to just grow and get bigger. Setting it all in place right now is really important. Doing it the right way from the start.
I agree. So I was really glad that we chose to do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, what when I asked this to every single person, what was your very first concert, big band type
Oh, for
that
so
you
for
ever went to?
for me, I grew up around Christian music.
Ah, okay.
So for me, every single summer we would go to a Christian music festival in Mount Union, Pennsylvania. Since I'm originally from Maine, so we load up the van, we drive to Mount Union, and it was called Creation Festival. So I was exposed to festivals, from a young age. So I just grew up around, just the most amazing music. I got to see POD when they were first getting together, and just so many Christian bands, the Newsboys, DC Talk, Jars of Clay, Rock and Roll Worship Circus. Just I grew up around that music. But the first secular concert that I remember going to that, was just amazing for me was the Goo Goo Dolls. I got to
Oh,
see them at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in New Hampshire on the Gutter Flower tour. Lisa Loeb opened for them, and that was just such an amazing show. And then since then, I've been to I can't count how
yeah.
many shows I've been to. Like
Yeah. Do you miss Maine at all? Especially right
I
now, we're sitting here in July in Florida and it's hot, humid, and miserable. Yes.
Yes, we are in the human sauna. No, I do miss Maine a lot. I still have family up there. And that's a hard thing too with the tribute band is, trying to find time to go back home. So I'm gonna make some time, block off some time on the calendar because I need to get back up there, especially to see my grandfather.
Oh.
That's probably actually where I got the musical part from. So my
Oh.
grandfather, he's a singer, songwriter, and he plays guitar. He does bluegrass music. So completely
Oh.
different from what I do, but he's the one that got me to pick up a guitar. So I play guitar as well. So
Oh.
I definitely owe that to him.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's great. That musical legacy, there you figured it out. There is a connecting of a dot, and that was it. Took you right
Yeah.
back to your grandfather. That's awesome. Um, how can people find you? How can people, what are your socials? Know when your future gigs are?
Yep. So we are on Facebook, Turn It On Again, a Phil Collins experience. We are on Instagram. Our Instagram, I believe, is Turn It On Again. Um, and then Turn It On Tribute. Let me double check here quickly.
Okay. I know. What would we do without handles and trying to keep
I
up and
know,
remember
right? Yeah.
everything?
So it is Turn It On Again Tribute, one word. And then our YouTube is Turn It On Again Tribute YT for YouTube.
Okay.
So that is how you find us. I'd say the best place to go is the Facebook. So just search for us on Facebook. We have a post at the top that's tagged with all of our upcoming events. We still have stuff to add to it, as well as our promo video. So that's the best place to, connect with us.
Amazing. I cannot thank you enough, Nicholas, for coming on and having this conversation and keeping the music of Phil Collins and Genesis going for all of us. And I'm very much looking forward to when you're back in South Florida because I'll be at that show for sure.
It is going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to these upcoming gigs. Yeah, it's this is just the most fun I've ever had in my life. And then the
Oh.
thing is, like I said, for 4 years I tried to get it going. There were times when I wanted to give up, the dream. But
Mm.
for anybody that's out there that has the passion that wants to get a tribute band going, don't give up. It's never too late. And if you have talent, the world needs to see it. So, you know, keep pushing forward because when you are able to live this, it's the best experience you'll be able to have.
Oh, that's so, so true. And keep that passion going and make something happen and bring it to all of us. So thanks again, really,
Of
so
course.
much for coming on. Absolutely.
Thank you,
I,
Karen.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Borrowed Notes Authentic Lives. As Nicholas was saying, go out and see live music. They are out there. We need to go hear it and support local live music all the time. Best therapy ever. Rock on.